You know, normally I'm not in the best of moods when I depart from sunshine, whether it's in Southern California or South Florida, to come to the East Coast where it's colder this time of year. But my man Cam's gonna be here in a few minutes. My man RC is in the house. And for the first time, I'm sitting next to this one right here. Mina's in the house. There's a lot of life to look forward to on First Take this morning. The boys and the one in the house.
It could be a big statement night tonight for the Kansas City Chiefs. Touchdown, Kansas City!
When we play all four quarters with toughness and energy, we know we're a tough team to beat.
Hollywood Brown is having a night!
We got worked pretty good. It's disappointing, really disappointing.
The final score, Kansas City 30 and the Detroit Lions 17.
We're not afraid to go up against anybody. We're going to match the intensity of whoever steps on that football field.
Oh, good morning and welcome into First Take. We got Ryan Clark, Stephen A. Smith in the flesh. We got Cam Newton as well joining us down from Atlanta. Amina Smith here with you. Cam, you got the pinky rings on. You're feeling good. You look good. How you doing?
Man, any better, I beat Stephen A. Smith, but I'm good for
By the way, congratulations for Saturday night again, brother. We watched. Congratulations, bro.
Yes.
Well deserved.
Definitely well deserved. Well, let's jump right into it. The Chiefs took down the Lions 30-17 in prime time, and the Kansas City offense finally looks like it's humming. However, that wasn't the big story. At the end of the game, Lions safety Brian Branch was approached by Patrick Mahomes for a high five. Branch ignored Holmes, and JuJu Smith-Schuster, he didn't like that very much. JuJu exchanged words with Branch, and then that turned into a brawl on the field. Take a listen.
I love Brian Branch, but what he did is inexcusable, and it's not going to be accepted here. It's not what we do. It's not what we're about.
Shouldn't have did it. It was childish. I got blocked in the back illegally, and it was running the ref. The ref didn't do anything. And just stuff like that, and I could have got hurt off of that, but I still shouldn't have done that. So
Something shocking to see after that game, and according to Adam Schefter, the league is reviewing the incident. However, Stephen A. Smith, I want to start with you. How should the league handle this?
Well, first of all, he should be suspended immediately. Suspended immediately. How many games I'll leave up to RC and Cam because they played, I didn't. The bottom line, though, he should be suspended. There's no excuse for that behavior. That's number one. Number two, moments earlier, he refused a handshake with Patrick Mahomes when Patrick Mahomes had rolled up to him. Let's not forget that. And he's talking about some hit, you understand, that transpired where he could have got hurt. Well, that clearly, was that Patrick Mahomes that did that? Was that Patrick Mahomes? I'm not sure. I mean, maybe I'm missing something. But likelihood is that it wasn't Patrick Mahomes that did that to him. So it's poor sportsmanship. It's a bad reflection on him, definitely. It's a bad reflection on the Detroit Lions, which is what Coach Campbell was alluding to. And as far as I'm concerned, since you misrepresented the organization so flagrantly, so publicly, I think a suspension should come from the league and the Detroit Lions, because you ain't got no business acting that way. That's where I'm at with it.
People fight in football.
Right.
And also, too, I ain't got to shake your hand. If I walk past your quarterback, if I walk past your head coach, if I walk past your wide receiver, I walk past them, name my friends, name my teammates. Now, what you can't do is take things that happen in the act of playing football and retaliate after the game. I don't care if you got blocked in the back. I don't care if you got cracked back. That's on the referees to officiate during the game. And now, if you want to dole out some physical punishment in return within the whistles, then you do that. It's inexcusable to go after the game and punch somebody in the helmet. It's also stupid, right? Now you're putting yourself in jeopardy. Now you're putting your team in jeopardy. And also, when you're the NFL and you're going to start to review this, you're going to look at his past. You're going to look at the personal foul penalties. You're going to see a pattern of behavior, and that is how you're going to levy this fine, levy this suspension. I do believe that he's going to be suspended for a game, and I would be comfortable with him being suspended for a game because you took something that happens in football every single game and made it bigger. And the other piece of what the NFL is going to review is the fact, and how they're going to have a feeling about it, is Patrick Mahomes jumped in this fight to break it up. Could you imagine if Patrick Mahomes gets hurt after the game breaking up a fight because you punched one of his teammates? That is the sort of danger you put everyone involved in, and the NFL can't have that.
Now, RC, you make a good point. You know, I don't have to shake your hand. We're not teammates. You don't have to do anything like that. However, what happened after that obviously is something you don't want to see. Cam, what do you have to say about what the NFL should do?
Yeah, RC knows this. Every former player knows this. Every current player knows this. During a game of football, there's probably the most slanderous, reckless talk or things to be said than any other sport. I've sat courtside, I've been to baseball games, I've seen different displays of different sporting events, but nothing matches the intensity and the verbal violence that takes place during an NFL game. Needless to say, when Brian Branch speaks on, you know, in essence, not being taken care of or putting his career at jeopardy with a late hit or whatever, that still is inexcusable, because where's your emotional intelligence, right? Where is your understanding of saying, hey, I have to control my emotions because everything, as, you know, RC says, within the whistle, it's done. You know, are you frustrated? Yes, cool. At the same time, you shouldn't go and have this type of act to now be the clip that describes Brian Branch. And you don't deserve that as the player that you are. And it's just sad, because what's going to come from this is going to be something that the league and the Detroit Lions will use as an example. And you never want to be the guy to be used as an example in any type of situation for bad reasons.
I just wanted to bring up the only reason I brought up the fact that he didn't shake Patrick Mahomes' hands. I fully understand that happens. I brought it up because it preceded the hit, the slap to JuJu Smith-Schuster's head. That's what I'm saying. So he had major attitude in the immediate aftermath towards a whole bunch of folks over there wearing the Kansas City Chiefs uniform. Again, that's what I'm saying. The only reason I brought that up was because, you know what, most people don't go past Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
Most people don't go by the quarterback. You know, they say they save their, you know, their vitriol and hostility for other players, not their opposing quarterback. But in this case, that's exactly what he did. And then to do what he did with JuJu Smith-Schuster, with Coach Campbell, feeling compelled to come out post-game and say, that's not reflective of who we are. It was inexcusable, and it won't be tolerated. It just shows how embarrassed the coach was by the action of one of his players.
And the other big piece of it is this, too. So many times when we know these players, because I know Brian, we want to say things like, that's not who he is.
Right.
We want to say he's better than that. And that is my feeling. That's not who Brian Branch is, right? I believe Brian Branch is better than that. But you are what the film says, right? You are what your actions are. And to the rest of the world, to the NFL, to the Detroit Lions now, the Kansas City Chiefs, and the entire league, he's the guy who, after the game, premeditatedly walked up to another player to punch him, because that's the thing I think about, Stephen A., when you say he walked past Patrick Mahomes. He walked past Patrick Mahomes because he had another mission, right? He had made up his mind, whether it was after the block or once the game ended, that I'm going to go see him right now, and it's on site. And then, obviously, we see the aftermath.
And Cam, I see your face. Go ahead and jump in.
Yeah, man, it's disappointing, because this should not be the display that we see, you know, any type of player, man. And, you know, you see innocently JuJu Smith-Schuster, he even goes in for the handshake, and it's like, boom, you know, how your jaw feel. You know, like, at the end of the day, you know, ladies and gentlemen, it really just comes down to individuals understanding how much alpha energy is on the football field. But still, there should never come a time where you put your career at jeopardy. We're talking about Brian Branch's career now, but what do you do with an already battered and beat up roster in Detroit? And they need as much help as they can get. And now, you know, with the potential elimination of you, it's now going to be something that really puts the team at stress even more.
Far be it for me to bring this up, but I needed to, because RC just made the point that he made about Brian Branch and who he is and all of this other stuff. And certainly we don't want to cast aspersions on the brother. The brother can play. You understand what I'm saying? Been a starter for the Detroit Lions the last couple of years. We know the kind of season they had last year. All of this is true. But just to contextualize this, who are we talking about here? talking about Brian Branch. So I took the liberty to look at some stuff up.
I said
okay?
they're going to take his history.
Oh, boy.
I know that.
Not doing a quick little search.
I know that. I know you said that, right? All I'm just talking about is specificity. That's all I'm talking about. That's all I'm talking about. Allow me to be a bit specific. The same guy that was upset at JuJu Smith-Schuster, the same guy that felt he was low cut and all of that, right? That same guy has been fined 13 times, okay, for approximately $130,000 for infractions. Allow me to label those infractions.
I know what the infractions
Face
are.
mask penalties, low blocks, taunting, obscene gestures, helmet-to-helmet hits, and, of course, fighting. And, by the way, recently fined $23,186 for fitness, because this ain't the NBA. The NFL players will tell you, I mean, that money matters to most of them. You know what I'm saying? Everybody ain't Tom Brady. Everybody ain't one of them $55 million quarterbacks. I mean, these dollars matter to these brothers, okay? This ain't some per diem that you just missing out on. Nah, this is money. You understand? $23,186 for face masking and unsportsmanlike conduct penalties against the Green Bay Packers. So what I'm trying to say is this. Now, I just brought up the money for a reason, because it matters to that brother. I mean, this is not a $55 million quarterback. Yeah. So the fact that you losing money because of these things, you understand what I'm saying? You're talking about a level of control, and then on top of it all, not only are you losing the money, you mad at cats that basically did the same thing you've been accused of doing.
Now that part, I agree with. But face mask. I don't even think it should be a fine for that. Right, a low block, like, and that's the. But my point is but that's what I'm saying to you though, Stephen A.
Right.
That is how people will look at it, though, right? When they are analyzing or trying to figure out what this fine is going to be, what this suspension is going to be, it's going to be like, wait, you're saying you could have been hurt, but look at all these things and all these ways you put other players in danger. Did those players retaliate on you? Right. And so for Brian Branch, he has to understand what his history is, and now taking it beyond football. Right. This is and I don't believe it's to this point or that he's this sort of player. But when you have this sort of outburst, along with the penalties that you mentioned, now people like Vontaze Burfict, who don't have emotional regulation, people who don't have or didn't have impulse control, you start to be lumped in with them. I don't believe that's the sort of person you are.
I don't believe that what kind of person he is, but I also, to piggyback off you before we go to Cam, it doesn't help that a three-time Super Bowl champion universally recognizes the greatest quarterback of this generation said, quote, "We play the game in between the whistles. They can do all the extracurricular stuff they want to, but we play the game in between the whistles." When the quarterback is Patrick Mahomes, and he says that in the immediate aftermath of that conflict, commenting about you, that also contributes to the elevated level of skepticism, dare I say, RC has just articulated. Cam, the floor is yours.
But he break the fines up. I articulated.
Listen, I mean, I don't too much. The cat don't typically get my tongue more often than not. But RC, to say that you don't know why that's even a penalty, a face mask? Do you know how powerful a face mask is? You know how much control you could have if you could just grab a person's face mask and take them wherever you want to go?
I don't think it should be a fine. I think it's a football play. Like, sometimes it happens. Now, if you go out here and I try to wring your neck and swing, sometimes I'm reaching out. Cam, you 6'8", 297 pounds and ran a 4.5. Sometimes you got to get you down how you get you down. I ain't trying to hurt you. I'm trying to keep my job. That don't mean I'm supposed to be fined.
That don't make it legal.
That too.
Just throw the flag.
Exactly.
I just throw the flag.
Take money out of my pocket because Cam tall.
Hey, take that in.
Cam, go ahead. Last word real quick.
Listen, I'm 6'6", 250 pounds, and if somebody grabs my face mask, I then now becomes 5'2", 120 pounds. Do you see the impact of you grabbing my face mask and doing whatever you need to do with me? I lose my superpowers, bro. That's basically what I'm saying.
And that's the point of me doing it, so we can get you down and have another snap.
Which is why you have to be fine.